Very good morning to all of you guys. Welcome back after a long weekend. So I hope you guys are doing good. In the last 3 sessions, we discussed the concepts of overhead, wherein we discussed allocation, apportionment, reapportionment, absorption, meaning and treatment of under or over absorption, plus few questions relating to machine hour rate. I hope you guys are thorough with the concept, and I hope you guys have solved all the questions of study material and practice manual. Very good morning, everyone. Very good, Mr. Aslam. Very good, Manisha Ben. So guys, let's start with a new chapter. We are done with overheads. Now let's start with a new chapter, that is activity-based costing. So can you one second, guys. अशोक सर, पीछे कोई आवाज आ रही है? अशोक सर, okay. Good morning, sir. I think वो शायद म्यूट पे नहीं है. Okay, no worries, Mr. Harsh Kumar. Now, guys, let's start with all together a new chapter, that is activity-based costing. Now, this chapter is in continuation of the chapter what we have already discussed, that is overheads. I repeat again, guys, this is not a new chapter. This chapter is in continuation of the chapter what we have already discussed, that is overheads. Up now, what is the difference between overheads and activity-based costing? Let me give you a brief. Wherein, let's say, overheads में हम लोग क्या करते थे कि भाई whatever the expenditures, whatever the overheads were, we used to distribute it among various production department or service departments. So in overheads, what we were doing is, let's say I have 3 production departments. Now, whatever the overheads that were incurred, what we used to do, we used to distribute it among 3 production departments. Let's say rent is there, electricity is there, depreciation is there, indirect wages is there. So what we used to do is, जो भी overheads हमारे incur होते थे, whatever the overheads that we were having, we used to distribute it among various production department or service department, either via allocation or apportionment. And thereafter, what we used to do is, on a particular basis, the entire overheads of a particular production department were absorbed. I repeat again, after distributing, that is allocation or apportionment of overheads, हम लोग क्या करते थे? We used to absorb the overheads on a single basis. That is, let's say, my overheads of production department were absorbed on the basis of labor hours. So this is how we used to calculate the absorption rate, and that absorption rate was used to charge the overhead of these production department to a particular product or to a particular job to calculate the total cost. This is what we were doing in overhead. Now, activity-based costing says this approach is incorrect. I have a better approach. Activity-based costing says, how can you absorb these overheads on the basis of labor hours? सारे अलग अलग तरह के ओवरहेड्स आप एक ही बेसिस पे कैसे अब्सॉर्ब कर सकते हैं? दिस इज व्हाट एक्टिविटी बेस्ड कॉस्टिंग वाज सेड. नाउ activity based costing says I have a better approach. Now what it says that the better is, instead of distributing the overheads among various production department, better identify what all activities we are doing. What it says, better identify what all activities we are doing and distribute these overheads among various activities. Let's say a company has identified that these are the following activities. That is activity relating to material procurement, activity relating to quality and inspection, activity related to material handling or activity relating to machine maintenance, setup related cost. So what activity based costing says ki better first of all identify the activities. Now the second step, what it says, that us activity ke related whatever the expenses we have incurred, group it and form a cost pool. In simple terms, it says us activity ke related jo sare kharche hain, better group it to form a cost pool. So the first step, what activity based costing says, that this approach is incorrect. How can you absorb all the overheads on a single basis? I have a better approach wherein it says that better identify the activities first. क्या कीजिए? Activities identify कर लीजिए. Thereafter, whatever the expenditures that are incurred relating to that activity will be grouped together to form cost pool. Now, the third very important step says that for every activity, there will be a separate basis of absorption. For every activity, it says there will be a separate basis of absorption. This is the better approach. I repeat again, this activity-based costing says first identify the activity. Second, उस activity के related जो भी cost incur हुई है, उसको group कीजिए to form cost pool. Then third point, very important point, there will be a separate basis of absorption for each and every activity. हर एक्टिविटी का एक सेपरेट बेसिस ऑफ अब्जॉर्प्शन होगा. दैट इज व्हाट वी कॉल एज कॉस्ट ड्राइवर. सो व्हाट इज कॉस्ट ड्राइवर? इट इज अ बेसिस ऑफ अब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ एवरी एक्टिविटी. Thereafter, once the base is identified, that is the basis of absorption is identified, we can easily calculate the absorption rate. So for every activity, separate absorption rate will be calculated. So let's sum up what I have discussed. Yes, Dhyanesh. Very good morning, Kanchan. So what we used to do in overheads, we used to distribute the overheads among various production departments. Once the overheads are distributed, we do identify the basis of absorption. और पूरे production department के जो भी overheads distribute हुए हैं, we used to calculate the absorption rate on a single basis. That is, in first case, I have calculated the absorption rate on the basis of labor hours. Now, activity-based costing says this approach is incorrect. वो क्या बोलता है? I have a better approach wherein instead of distributing the overheads among various production department, better identify the activities. What all activities we are doing? That is, activity can be related to material procurement. Material जो हम लोग outside supplier से procure करते हैं, it can be an activity. Material handling can be an activity. Thereafter, quality and inspection can be an activity. Thereafter, machine maintenance can be an activity. And setup related cost can be an activity. So better identify the activities. Second point, whatever the expenditures that are incurred relating to that activity will be grouped together to form a cost pool. The third stage, it says that instead of a single basis of absorption, there will be a separate basis of absorption for every activity known as cost driver. So once cost drivers are identified, we can easily calculate the absorption rate for every activity. So this is the way what we will be approaching in activity-based costing. If you guys have any doubts in this explanation, you guys can put on your queries. I'll be writing this explanation also. So if you guys have any queries, you guys can ask me. So as I discussed, what we used to do in overheads, we call it as traditional approach. The total overheads of a particular production department divided by the basis of absorption, either it can be labor hour basis or it can be machine hour basis. Or it can be on the basis of percentage of direct material or on the basis of percentage of prime cost we have already discussed in overheads. So सारे overheads का एक ही basis of absorption होगा. That is what we discussed in overhead and that is called as the traditional approach. Now in activity based costing, first of all, we have to identify the activities. What we have to do? We have to identify the सबसे पहले एक्टिविटीज आइडेंटिफाई कीजिए. The next step is whatever the costs that are incurred in relation to the to a particular activity will be grouped together to form cost pool. Whatever the costs that are incurred in relation to that activity will be grouped together to form cost pool. First step, identify the activity. Very good, Alok. This method is used more practically. This method is applied, but in some cases we do apply what we have discussed in overheads. I'll be covering this part, Mr. Aslam. Wait. So first and the foremost thing is identify the activity. Mr. Ismail, don't worry, I'll be covering this part again. So first and the foremost thing, activities identify कीजिए. Thereafter, whatever the costs that are incurred in relation to an activity will be grouped together to form cost pool. For every activity, there will be a separate basis of absorption. We call it as cost driver. For every activity, there will be a separate basis of absorption known as cost driver. हर एक्टिविटी के लिए there will be a separate basis of absorption known as cost driver. Now, once we do identify the cost driver, the best thing is what we can do is we can easily calculate the absorption rate. Now that absorption rate is used to calculate the total or to charge the overheads to a cost of product or to a job to calculate the total cost. And that absorption rate is used to charge the overheads. Absorption rate is used to charge the overheads to a product to calculate total cost. So these are the stages we have to follow step by step each and every point, wherein first we have to identify the activities. Second, whatever the costs that are incurred in relation to an activity will be grouped together to form cost pool. For every activity, there will be a separate basis of absorption known as cost driver. Thereafter, once the cost drivers are identified, we'll calculate the absorption rate. And once the absorption rate is calculated, we will use this rate to charge the overheads to a particular product to calculate the total cost. So this is the approach of activity-based costing. Now, the point is what you have to do and what information will be given in the question. So when talking about what all activities are involved, this information will always be given in the question. Ki hamari kya activities hai. This hard work is already done by the question setter. So this information will always be given in the question. The second point, the costs that are relating to that activity, that is the cost pools, this information will also be given in the question. I repeat again, whatever the activities that are involved will be given in the question. The cost pools will be given in the question. Now the point is cost driver. In few questions, the cost driver will be specifically given. That is, for this activity, this is the driver. For this activity, this is the driver. But yes, examiner may ask you the questions that wherein you have to identify the cost driver. So I repeat again, in few questions, it will be given कि इस एक्टिविटी का ये कॉस्ट ड्राइवर होगा, इस एक्टिविटी का ये कॉस्ट ड्राइवर होगा. But yes, there are many questions wherein you have to apply your brains and have to identify कि किस एक्टिविटी का कॉस्ट का ड्राइवर क्या होगा. So this is, we have to identify. This is the most important part. This is, we have to identify. Once it is identified, we can easily calculate the absorption. So these two data will always be given in the question, in most of the questions. But yes, as far as cost driver is concerned, yes, in few questions it will be given. In few questions you have to identify कि किस activity का क्या driver होगा. And once this cost driver is identified, you can easily calculate the absorption rate. And absorption rate is used to charge the overheads to a product to calculate the total cost. Mr. Manoj Kumar, ABC. So I request you guys to please copy this explanation. I'll be discussing the concept of activity once again. So what all activities can be, what all the cost driver can be relating to a particular activity. So I request you guys to please copy this part. Thereafter, we'll be discussing the remaining part. Very good, Priyanka. So guys, when talking about the activity, these can be the activity that is relating to material procurement. It can be an activity Another activity can be setup related cost. Next can be quality and inspection. Or it can be relating to machine maintenance. So these can be the activities. There can be few more activities, that is material handling, etc., etc. Now, as I told you, for every activity there will be a separate cost driver. कि भाई ये activity किस चीज के related है? So we can say material procurement is more or related to what the number of orders. The material procurement cost will increase if the number of orders will be increasing. So we can say this can be a cost driver for material procurement, that is number of purchase order. When talking about setup related cost, whenever you start a production process, you have to incur few costs related to setup. So for every production process or for every number of setup, for every setup you have to incur the setup related cost. So we can say that setup related cost can be dependent upon number of setups. Or we can say number of production runs also. So every time you start a production process, setup cost incur hota hai. So we can say number of production run can be a base for setup related cost. When talking about quality control and inspection related cost, again, it may be dependent upon the number of inspection what we have carried on. So again, this can be a cost driver for quality and inspection. So number of inspection. When talking about machine maintenance, the name itself says machine ka maintenance. So it is more or less dependent upon machine hours. So this is the illustrative list. It may differ from question to question. So my point is, first in the foremost thing, better identify the activities. कि कौन सी activities है. And thereafter, for every activity, you have to identify the cost driver. So question में कुछ ना कुछ आपको hints दिया हुआ होगा कि this is the cost driver for so and so activity. Else you have to use your brains कि भाई, first and the foremost thing, material procurement. What or more or less it is related to what? Number of purchase order. When talking about setup cost, it is more or less related to number of production run. When talking about quality control and inspection, it is more or less related to number of inspections. And as far as machine maintenance is concerned, it is more or less related to machine hours. So these drivers may differ from questions to questions. So read the question carefully and then identify कि किस activity का कौन सा cost driver होगा. So I hope this part is clear to all, that what is activity and what is cost driver. Yes, Dhyanesh will get a better rate in activity-based costing. So Mr. Ismail, I repeat again, first identify the activity. Activity-based costing says, the traditional, I have a better approach rather than the traditional approach, wherein how can you absorb all the overheads on a single basis that we were doing in overheads. So activity-based costing says the better approach is that identify the activities that are within the organization. Hamari organization mein jo bhi activities ho rahi hai, identify it. The second point is whatever the costs that are incurred, wo cost jo various production department ko distribute hota tha, now distribute it to the activities. That is, whatever the costs that are incurred relating to a particular activity will be grouped together to form cost pool. Now, for every activity, we will identify a separate cost driver. We will identify a separate basis of absorption. So if there are 10 activities, then there will be 10 basis of absorption. And once the basis of absorption is identified, we can easily calculate the absorption rate. So if you guys have any doubts, You guys can please post your queries. This information will always be given in the question, Mr. Aslam. Waiting for your queries, guys. Plus, I request you guys to please copy. Any doubts, Priyanka, Jyoti, Dhyanesh, Alok? Smile. Hopefully your doubt is resolved. Harsh Kumar, any doubts? Sushil Kumar. What is cost driver? I've already explained. Smile S, I've explained what is activity. Harsh Kumar, if you have any doubts relating to this chapter, I can address your query. So guys, this is all what about concept of activity-based costing. So we'll be discussing 4 to 5 questions in this session. So guys, I request you to please open your study material. I'll be discussing the questions of study material only. So we'll be starting with illustration number first. So I request you guys to please open your study material. Smile as you will have a better understanding after I discuss this illustration number 1. So don't worry. I'm discussing illustration number 1 of study material, page number 5.11. So page number 5.11. Illustration number first. कविता आपने नोट डाउन नहीं किया था क्या? So guys, let's start with illustration number 1. That is, ABC Limited is a multi-product company manufacturing 3 products A, B, and C. The budgeted cost and production for the year ending 31st March are as follows. So ABC Limited is a company which is manufacturing 3 products, that is A, B, and C. And now the following information are given in the question, wherein production quantity, that is in units, 4,000 units, 3,000 units, and 1,600 units of A, B, and C respectively. Resources per unit. Resources per unit, that is direct material in kgs and direct labor in minutes, not in hours. The budgeted direct labor rate is rupees 10 per hour. So guys, the information is given in minutes and they have given the rate per hour. So please do remember while solving the questions. Further, the budgeted material cost is rupees 2 per kg. Total production overheads were budgeted at 99,450 and were absorbed to a product using direct labor hour rate. So this is what we were doing in overhead. That is the traditional approach, wherein in this question, they are mentioning it clearly that you have to absorb the overheads on direct labor hour basis. ABC Limited follow the absorption costing system. ABC Limited is now considering to adopt an activity-based costing. The following additional information is made available for this purpose. Now, traditional approach mein what they were doing is mentioned clearly in question. Now they want to switch it to activity-based costing, wherein the activities are given, that is material handling is an activity, storage cost is an activity. Sorry. And electricity, they have identified as a, one second. Yes. So material handling is an activity, storage cost is an activity, and electricity is an activity. That is what the activities they have identified. Further, the total amount is also given, that is called as the total amount in rupees. Further, in this question, they have given that what all drivers are for a particular activity. So when talking about identifying cost driver, this information is clearly given in the question that ye activity ka ye driver hoga, ye activity ka ye driver hoga. So here in this case, further material handling cost is given separately, storage cost is given separately, and electricity cost is given separately. And the total of these three costs will be 99,450 as given in the question. Further, when talking about the drivers, it is given in the question that material handling is more or less dependent upon the weight of material. Okay, storage cost, number of batches of material, and electricity cost, number of machine operations. So this information is given in the question. So हम लोगों को दिमाग लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है कि किस एक्टिविटी का क्या ड्राइवर होगा. This information is clearly given in the question. Now data on cost drivers are further given. For complete production, batches of material is given, and for per unit of production, number of machine operations are given. We have to prepare a statement for management showing the unit cost and the total cost of each product using absorption costing method. So guys, let's start with the first approach, that is absorption costing method, wherein what we have to do is we have to calculate the total cost. So let's start with illustration number 1. There are 3 products, A, B, and C. Statement showing calculation of cost. Now question is mentioning clearly that you have to calculate the per unit cost and the total cost. Now, you can solve this question with any of the approach, that total amount calculate करके divided by number of units कर लो, या per unit question, per unit total cost निकाल के into number of units करके total cost निकाल लो. So both the approaches are correct. So guys, let's start with this question. When talking about material cost, it is given for product A, 4 kgs of material is required, and the cost per kg is rupees 2. So this will be 8. 6 into 2, so this will be 12. And for C, it is 3 kgs of material required, and the material cost is rupees 2. So 3 2 just 6. When talking about labor cost, for every 60 minutes, we are paying rupees 10. For every 60 minutes, we are paying rupees 10. That is, for an hour, we are paying the wages at the rate 10. So for 30 minutes, this will be rupees 5. This will be 7.5. And this will be 10. When talking about overheads, it is clearly mentioned in the question that overheads are absorbed on the basis of labor hours. So herein, let's calculate the absorption rate. My total overheads are 99,450. divided by total number of labor hours. So herein, when talking about the calculation of labor hour, it is given in the question that product A, B, and C requires how much of labor hours plus the number of units produced. So herein, product A requires 30 minutes. That is, every product A requires 30 minutes of labor hours, and the total unit manufactured are 4,000. So how much labor hours for product A? 4,000 into 30 divided by 60. That is 2,000 hours for product A. Similarly, 3,000 units are manufactured. 45 minutes divided by 60. So this will be 2250 hours for product B. Plus product C require 1 hour, that is 60 minutes to manufacture a product. So this will be 1600 for product C. So 2250 plus 2000 plus 1600. So this will be 17. If you guys have any doubts, please let me know about this calculation. So waiting for your queries. Very good, Shivani. If you guys have any doubts in this calculation, you guys can please ask me. So now we have calculated the rate as rupees 17 per hour. It means what? Overheads are charged to this job, to these products on the basis of rupees 17 per hour. So here, when talking about product A requires only 30 minutes. So 30 divided by 60. Since this rate is per hour and the information given is in minutes, so this will be 17 into 30 by 60. Next is 17 into 45 by 60. This will be 12 point. So this is the unit cost of product A, B, and C, wherein the total cost of product A is 21.5, the B is 32.25, and C is 33. If you guys have any doubts in this calculation, you guys can please post your queries. Okay, Mr. Ismail sir, how to calculate 2000, 2250 and 1600? So when talking about this calculation for 2000, total 4,000 units are manufactured and every unit requires 30 minutes. So if we want to convert it into hours, so divided by 60 minutes. So this is how we will get 2,000. Similarly, total units manufactured of product B is 3,000. Every unit requires 45 minutes divided by 60. And for this one, 1600 units are manufactured and every product requires 60 minutes. So this is how I got these figures, Ismail. So this is the total cost. If we multiply it by number of units, that is 4,000, 3,000, and 1600 will get the total cost. Mr. Sunil Kumar, when talking about the absorption rate, it is given that in traditional system of costing, we are absorbing the overheads on the basis of labor hours. So when talking about the absorption rate, very simple, total overheads divided by total number of labor hours. That is for product A, for product B, and for product C. For product A, 2000 hours. How come 4000 units we are manufacturing for product A, and every product require half an hour, that is 30 minutes. So how many hours are required for product A? 2000. For B, again we are manufacturing 3000 units and every unit require 45 minutes. So it means what? 2250 hours. And for product C, there are 1600 units what we are manufacturing and every unit require proper 60 minutes, that is 1 hour. So plus 1600. So this is how I calculated the absorption rate. This will be 86,000. Very good, Shivani. Thank you. Very good, Priyanka. Hopefully, Sunil Kumar, your query is resolved. Now, guys, let's proceed further with the next part of the question, wherein prepare a statement for management showing the product cost of each product using activity-based costing. So first part is over, wherein we have calculated the unit cost and the total cost using what? Using the traditional system of costing. Now, let's calculate the total cost and unit cost using activity-based costing. So this is the first part, and now second part. Before calculating the total cost as per activity-based costing, we have to first calculate the absorption rate for every activity. So guys, let's start. When talking about the activity, it is given in the question that what all activities are there. That is material handling, the second activity is storage cost, and the third one is electricity. Now the next is the total amount that are related to this activity. So when talking about the material handling cost, it is 29,100. Storage cost is 31,200. And the third one is electricity cost, that is 39,150. So for every activity, there is a separate basis of absorption known as cost driver. When talking about material handling, it is given in the question that is, it is dependent upon weight of material. So weight of material. When talking about storage cost, it is dependent upon number of batches. And the third point, that is electricity, number of machine operation. So guys, let's calculate the number of units of these drivers. So when talking about the first activity, that is material handling, it is dependent upon weight of material. So when talking about calculation of weight of material, herein it is given in the question that every unit require 4 kgs of material in case of A. So when talking about A, this will be 4,000 into 4, 16,000, that will be for A. For B, 3,000 units are produced and the material required is 6 kgs. So 3,000 into 6, that is 18,000. And for product C, 1,600 units are manufactured and the material required is 3 kgs. So 1,600 into 3, that is 4,800. So total material required will be how much? 16,000 plus 18,000 plus 4,800. So this will be 38,800. So this is the weight of material that is required. So 38,800. So now we can easily calculate the absorption rate, that is 29,100 is the total cost divided by. So this will be rupees 0.75 per kg. When talking about the storage cost, it is dependent upon number of batches of material. So herein information is given in the question that for complete production, पूरे production के लिए number of batches are how much? For A it is 10, for B it is 5, and for C it is 15. So this will be total 30. I repeat again, this 10, 5 and 15 is given for the complete production. So here in 31,200 divided by 30. So this will be 1.1040 per batch. Further, when talking about electricity, is given in the question that it is dependent upon number of machine operation. And further, in this question, number of machine operations are given, but it is given per unit. So we have to calculate the total number of machine operation. So for every unit, the number of machine operations are 6. So 4,000 into 6, that is 24,000. For B, every units require 3 machine operations. So 3,000 into 3, 9,000. And for C, for every units require 2 machine operations. So 1,600 into 2. So this will be 3,200. So total number of machine operations will be how much? 24,000 plus 9,000 plus 3,200. So this will be 36,200. This will be 1.08. So now we have calculated the separate absorption rate for every activity. I have discussed this part in detail, Mr. Hirsch. When talking about absorption rate, very simple, the total overheads divided by the basis of absorption in traditional costing. When talking about activity-based costing, again, the overheads of an activity divided by basis of absorption of that activity. We call it as cost driver. Very good, Shivani. Very good, Dhyanesh. Very good, Priyanka. So I'm erasing this part, guys. Now we have calculated the absorption rate. So now let's proceed with the calculation of total cost. Statement of total cost. So three products are there, A, B, and C. When talking about material and labor, we have already calculated. Very good, Jyoti. So this will be 8, 12, and 6. When talking about labor cost, the labor rate per hour is 10. So this will be 5, 7.5, and 10. Now let's calculate the total material and labor cost. So multiplied by number of units. The total units are 4,000, 3,000, and 1,600. So 4,000 into 13, that is 52,000. Thereafter 3,000 into 19.5, this will be 58,500. 1,600 into 16, so this will be 25,600. Now in this we have to add the overheads that are relating to this activity. That is material handling. The next is storage cost. And the next is electricity. So when talking about material handling, it is 0.75 per kg. 0.75 per kg per batch and per machine operation. So 0.75 per kg, when talking about the number of kgs of product A, product B, product C, it is 16,000, 18,000 and 4,800. So 16,000 into 0.75, so this will be 12,000. 16,000 into 0.75. 18,000 into 0.75, this will be 13,500. So I am applying the absorption rate to this product to calculate the total cost. So here in 18,000 into 0.75. And the last one, 4,800 into 0.75. That is 3,600. When talking about the storage cost, it is 1,040 per batch. When talking about the number of batches, product A requires 10 batches, so 1,040 into 10. This will be 10,400. Product B requires 5 batches, so this will be 5,200. And product C requires 15 batches, so 15 into 1040. So this will be 15,600. When talking about electricity, depending upon the number of machine operations, so herein the number of machine operations are 36,200 and the rate we have already calculated, that is 1.08. So herein 1.08 into number of machine operation, that is 24,000. For B, 1.08 into 9,000, and for C, 1.08 into 3,200. Nine seven two zero. Three five one zero. So here now we can easily calculate the total cost. That is 52,000. That is the total of material and labor, plus 12,000, plus 10,400, plus 25,920. So this will be 100,320. Next is 58,500, plus 13,500, plus 5,200, plus 9,720. This will be 86,920. Next is 25,600, plus 3,600, plus 15,600, plus 3,510. 48. If we divide it by number of units, that is 4,000, 3,000, and 1,600, will get the cost per unit. This will be 30.19. $28.97. So guys, I'm done with the solution. If you guys have any queries, you guys can please post your queries. Answer is more or less the same only, my dear. Miss Bala Vinodini, the answer is more or less same. The presentation is different. You can follow both the approaches. Since in the first part, I have discussed how to calculate per unit and then multiplied with the number of units. In the second part, I have calculated the total cost divided by number of units. So the major motto is what I want to discuss both the approaches. कि पहले आप पर यूनिट कैलकुलेट करके भी मल्टीप्लाई कर सकते हैं या फिर द सेकंड अप्रोच इज कैलकुलेट द टोटल कॉस्ट डिवाइडेड बाय नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स. बोथ द अप्रोचेस आर कवर्ड. Very good morning, Mr. Just Shah. The answer is same. Please check your answers. The unit cost is same. If there is any difference, then it is the rounding of difference, my dear. So waiting for your queries, guys. If you have any queries, please post your queries, giving you 2 minutes time. Those who want to copy the presentation can please copy. Now, guys, this part is very, very important in each and every question. This part is very important in each and every question. You have to prepare this table. It will be easy for you while writing for the exams, where in the first column will be the activity ki hamari activities kya kya hai. In every question of ABC, you have to prepare this because you have to calculate the absorption rate for every activity. So what all activities are there, then the amount, then the cost drivers, the number of units of cost driver, and the absorption rate. So I request you guys to please copy this presentation. Yes, Mr. Aslam. No, Priyanka, there is no difference as far as study material is concerned. It is 25.08. My answer 25.09. My answer is 25.08. Further, 28.97 is the same and 30.16 is the same. I request you guys to please copy this presentation. Now, guys who have finished, who are done with, जिन लोगों ने कॉपी कर लिया है, I request you guys to start illustration number 2. Try to solve it right now. I'll be discussing illustration number 2. I request you guys to please start writing solution of illustration number 2. I'll be discussing. So giving you 3 to 4 minutes time, try to solve this question illustration number 2 in the class itself. And let's check you that you guys are thorough with the concepts of activity-based costing or not. I'll be discussing illustration number 2 also. So giving you 4 to 5 minutes time. So try to solve illustration number 2 in writing right in the class itself. Now there are queries wherein, sir, there is a substantial difference in the cost per unit and the total cost in both the cases. So activity-based costing is a much better approach rather than traditional basis of costing. But at the end of the day, the cost that is distributed is how much? That is 99,000. I think it is total. The cost that is distributed is 99,450. But yes, in traditional system of costing, this cost is apportioned in a different ratio, and in activity-based costing that is much more clear and precise, this cost is distributed in different ratio. So ratios जो है traditional system of costing and activity-based costing में different है. That's why there is a difference in cost. When talking about which approach is better, yes, activity-based costing is better. Because in traditional system of costing, we were absorbing all the overheads on a single basis. But yes, in activity-based costing, we have identified that what all activities we are doing. And for every activity, we are identifying a separate base that is more or less related to that activity. So this part is more detailed and more clear as compared to the traditional approach. बट अल्टीमेटली ओवरहेड्स जो है वो टोटली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हुए हैं, दैट इज 99,450. सो दैट इज व्हाट इट इज. Yes, Dhyanesh, because distribution ratio change हो गया है. This is a better approach than traditional system of costing because इसके अंदर हम लोग हर एक्टिविटी का एक सेपरेट बेसिस आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं, विच इज अ बेटर अप्रोच रेदर देन कि सारे ओवरहेड्स को एक ही बेसिस पे अब्सॉर्ब करो. वेरी गुड आलोक. प्रियंका, होपफुली योर डाउट इज रिजॉल्व. So guys, now let's proceed further with illustration number 2. So herein, MST Limited has collected the following data for its two activity. It calculate activity cost rate based on cost driver capacity. So herein they have identified two activities, that is power and quality inspection. When talking about the driver for that activity, it is given that power cost is to be absorbed on the basis of kilowatt hours and the quality inspection is to be absorbed on the basis of number of inspection. Further, the cost driver units are also given, that is 50 lakh kilowatt hours for power and 10,000 inspections for quality inspection. And further, the total cost of the activity is also given, that is 2 lakh and 3 lakh. So herein, all these amounts are given. We have to simply calculate the absorption rate. Now the company make 3 products, that is M, S and T. For the year ended 31st March, the following consumption of the cost driver was reported, wherein 10,000 for M, 20,000 for S and T is 15,000. It means what? Total 45,000 of the kilowatt were consumed. It means what? 5,000 are still in our spare capacity. Similarly, for quality inspection, again, 3,500 for M, 2,500 for S, and for T, it is 3,000. So in aggregate, 9,000 quality inspections were done. So it means what? 1,000 is our spare capacity. Now required, compute the costs allocated to each product from each activity. So we have to allocate the cost. So guys, let's start with illustration number 2. Very good, Jyoti. Now, guys, let's start with illustration number 2. So the same way, since there is nothing, no information is given in the question as regards traditional approach, so start writing the questions as per activity-based costing. Again, the first table will be the same. That is activity, what all activities we are doing, the total amount, thereafter the cost driver for that activity, thereafter units, and thereafter the absorption rate. So there are two activities, that is power and quality inspection. When talking about power, the total cost is 2 lakh. And for quality inspection, the total cost is 3 lakh. When talking about the cost drivers, it is 50,000. It is dependent upon kilowatt hours. And in the second case, it is inspections. $50,000, there are total 50,000 kilowatt hours and total 10,000 inspection. So this absorption rate will be ₹4 and this will be ₹30. So this is the first step wherein we do calculate the absorption rate. Now the first part that is compute the cost allocated to each product from each activity. So statement showing allocation of cost. There are total 3 products, that is M, S, and T. So product M, S, and T. Herein we will distribute the cost. The first one is the power cost. We will distribute it. ₹4 for every kilowatt. So herein for product M, 10,000 kilowatt hours are consumed. So 10,000 into 4, this will be 40,000. For every hour, it is given in the question that kilowatt hours are 10,000, 20,000, and 15,000. 1 second, guys. 1 second. So kilowatt hours are given, that is 10,000, 20,000, and 15,000. So 10,000 into 4, 15,000 into 4. Sorry. And 15,000 into 4, that is 60,000. When talking about the inspection cost, it is dependent upon number of inspections. So herein we have calculated the rate, that is ₹30 per inspection. So in case of product M, this will be 3,500 into 30. So this will be 1,05,000. In second case, 2,500 into 30. So this will be 75,000. And in the third case, it is 33,000 into 30. So this will be 90,000. So the total cost as allocated is 1,45,000. This will be 1,55,000. And this will be 1 lakh. So again, the point of discussing this question is that you have to stick to the thumb rule. Very simple. Activities, the total amount of the activity, the cost driver of the activity, and thereafter the units, and plus the absorption rate. And then use this absorption rate to allocate the total cost. So if you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please ask me. Very good, guys. Very good, Mr. Aslam. Very good, Dhyanesh. Very good, Shivani. Very good, Jyoti. Very good, Priyanka. Now let's proceed to the next part. The first part is over, that is compute the cost allocated to each product from each activity. Now calculate the cost of unused capacity for each activity. We have to calculate the cost of unused capacity for each activity. So now, when talking about the cost of unused capacity, the first is power. Now, the total power cost was how much? It was 2 lakh and the capacity was 50,000 kilowatt. Wherein, how much capacity, what we utilized in the question, that is 10,000 plus 20,000 plus 15,000, that is 45,000 capacity we utilized. So how much capacity that is left unutilized is how much? 5,000. So when talking about the power, 50,000 was our capacity. Of this, 45,000 was utilized. It means what? My spare capacity is 5,000 and the absorption rate is 4. So this will be 20,000. Similarly, for quality inspection, also, my total capacity was for 10,000 inspection, of which capacity utilized is how much? 9,000 only. So spare capacity is how much? 1,000 into the cost per inspection, that is 30. So this will be the 30. So the total cost is 50,000 for unused capacity. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your query. Very good, Mr. Smile. Very good, Dhyanesh. Very good, Shivani. Very good, Jyoti. So further, the third question, what the third point, what the question is asking, that discuss the factors the management consider in choosing a capacity level to compute the budgeted fixed overhead rate. हमें क्या capacity level लेना है? So herein, my capacity level is 50,000 and 10,000. So what is the advisable capacity level the management should choose? So what all factor influence this capacity level, wherein when talking about the factors that affect, it can be effect on product costings and capacity management, effect on pricing decisions, effects on performance evaluation, effect on financial statements, and so on. So the point is, what all factors the management should consider in choosing a capacity level to compute the budgeted overhead. So these are the following factors. Don't want to go in depth. These topics are covered in the first lecture itself. So don't want to go in detail on all these points. They will be discussing more on the practical part. So guys, let's start with illustration number 3. I'm discussing illustration number 3. The illustration number 2 is done. No Pranav Vashishta. No worries, Harsh Kumar. That's great. Yeah, Manisha Ben, both the approaches are correct. The theory part I'm not covering in this session. It is already covered in chapter 1. And anyways, we are running short of time. So guys, let's start without wasting time. Let's start with illustration number 3. So ABC Limited manufactures 2 types of machine equipment, that is Y and Z. I repeat again, guys, I'm discussing illustration number 3. Okay, Abdul, I'll be covering illustration practical question number 2 after this question. So let me discuss illustration number 3. Thereafter, I'll discuss practical question number 2. So ABC Limited manufactures 2 types of machinery equipment, that is Y and Z, and absorbed overheads on the basis of labor hours. So this is the traditional system of costing, wherein they used to absorb the overheads on the basis of labor hours. The budgeted overheads and the labor hours are also given, that is 12,42,500 and 20,000 hours respectively. The following information about the company's product is as follows, wherein the budgeted production volume is 2,500 units and 3,125 units. The material cost is given. Further, the labor cost per unit is also given. ABC Limited overheads of 12,42,500 can be identified with 3 major activity. So जो total 12,42,500 overheads है, वो ट्रेडिशनल सिस्टम में लेबर आवर बेसिस पे अब्सॉर्ब करते थे. एंड व्हेन टॉकिंग अबाउट एक्टिविटी बेस्ड कॉस्टिंग, they have given that there are 3 activities, that is order processing, machine processing, and product inspection. These activities are driven by the number of order processed, the machine hours worked, and inspection hours respectively. The data relevant to these activities are given. So guys, now we have to first calculate the total cost using absorption costing, and the second is we have to calculate the total cost using activity based costing. So I don't think you guys will be facing any sort of doubt. So giving you 4 to 5 minutes time, try to solve this question in writing in class itself. If you guys face any sort of doubt, then please tell me. I'll be discussing illustration number 3. This question is very easy. We're requesting you guys to please solve this question in the class itself. If you guys have any doubts or query in relation to this question, you guys can please ask. So guys, I hope you guys have solved this illustration number 3. The major point is what the calculation of absorption rate in both the cases. When talking about traditional approach, the total overheads divided by the number of labor hours. So herein, the absorption rate will be 62.125. So this rate will be applied to product Y and Z to calculate the total cost. When talking about activity-based costing, again, the absorption rate is the key, wherein there are 3 activities, that is of order processing, machine processing, and inspection, and the total cost is given for the same. So wherein the first point what we have to do is identify the cost driver. So order processing is more or less related to order processed, machine processing more or less related to machine hours, and the inspection cost is more or less related to inspection hours. So units are given and I have calculated the absorption rate. So these rates will be applied to product Y and Z to calculate the total cost of Y and Z. So I hope this part is clear to all. Very good, Jyoti. Very good, Alok. Very good, Mr. Aslam. Yes, Nikita, let me complete the illustration part. Then I'll be discussing practical question number 2 and 3. Don't worry, Nikita. So let me cover the illustration part first. I hope you guys have solved the questions. Jyoti, hopefully you got the answer. Shivani, Miss Kavita, Nikita, Abdul, Sunil Kumar, Manisha Ben, Jash. Any doubts, guys, in illustration number 3? Very good, Dhyanesh. Any doubts, anyone? So guys, now I'm starting with illustration number 4. And thereafter we'll be discussing practical question number 2 and 3 in detail. So let's start, guys, with illustration number 4. Wherein Hamara Apna Bank offers 3 products. There are 3 products, that is deposit, loan, and credit card. The bank has selected 4 activities. So there are total 3 products and there are 4 activities. So the bank has selected 4 activities for a detailed budgeting exercise following activity-based costing method. The bank want to know the product-wise total cost per unit for the selected activity so that the price may be fixed accordingly. The following information is made available, wherein the details of the activity, the cost, and the estimation for the budget period is given. So herein, when talking about the first activity, that is ATM service, there are 3 cost breakup are given. That is machine maintenance is 4 lakh, all fixed, no change. Rent is 2 lakh, fully fixed, no change. Currency replenishment cost expected to double during the budgeted period. So when talking about the activity, the first activity is ATM service, wherein the costs are given, of which 4 lakh and 2 lakh are fixed, but 1 lakh is expected to be doubled during the budgeted period. Let me check what is the meaning of all these costs. Now, so the total cost is 7 lakh, and this activity is driven by the number of ATM transaction. So when talking about the driver of this ATM service, when talking about the driver of this ATM service, the driver is what? Number of ATM transaction. Now let's proceed further. The next activity is computer processing. The total amount is 5 lakh. Half this amount is fixed and no change is expected. The variable portion is expected to increase to 3 times the current level. So the next activity is computer processing. And some information is given as regards the total overheads. Further, this activity is driven by the number of computer transactions. So this activity is driven by number of computer transactions. Further, the next point is relating to issuing statement, that is 18 lakh. Of this, presently 3 lakh statements are made. In the budgeted period, 5 lakh statements are expected. So in budgeted period, they are expecting the total number of statements to be 5 lakh. For every increase in 1 lakh statement, 1 lakh rupees is the budgeted increase. Okay, no worries. Now this activity is driven by number of statements. And the activity is issuing statement. The next is computer inquiries, that is 2 lakh. Further, the estimated to increase by 80% during the budgeted period. This activity is driven by telephone minutes. Now the activity drivers and their budgeted quantities are given. So here in the number of total number of ATM transactions, since there are 3 products, that is deposit, loans and credit card. So the number of transactions are also given. So for ATM transaction, the total number of transactions are 2 lakh. When talking about the number of computer processing transaction, the total number of transactions are 20 lakh. When talking about the number of statements, it is 5 lakh. Total is 5 lakh. And telephone minutes are 360 plus 180 plus 180. So this will be 7 lakh 20,000. Now the bank budget a volume of 58,600 units of deposit, 13,000 loan account and 14,000. So these are the number of units for these 3 products, that is deposit, loans and credit card. Now calculate the budgeted rate for each activity. Now they are asking us to calculate the budgeted rate for each activity. So herein, I'll start the questions from very beginning, wherein the bank want to know the product-wise total cost per unit for the selected activity. The following information is made available to formulate the budget. Again, ये जो information दी गई है, इससे हमें budget formulate करना है. So we have to calculate the budgeted overheads. So now we can say that what is the use of all this information. So guys, let's start with the first part, that is ATM service. Herein, when talking about the machine maintenance cost 4 lakh, no change, it is fixed. So 4 lakh is fixed. Plus 2 lakh that is relating to rent, that is also fixed. So 2 lakh is also fixed. Further, when talking about the currency replenishment cost, expected to be double during the budgeted period. Expected to be double during the budgeted period. 1 second, guys. So expected to be double during the budgeted period. So currently, my cost is how much? 1 lakh. So when talking about double, this will be 2 lakh. So this will be total 4 plus 2, 4 plus 4, 8. So this is the total cost of ATM service, that is 8 lakh. When talking about the first cost, 4 lakh, it is fixed, 2 lakhs is fixed. But when talking about 1 lakh, expected to be double during the budgeted period. It means what? Instead of 1 lakh, we'll be writing 2 lakhs. So the total cost will be 4 plus 4, 8 lakh. Now, when talking about computer processing, half of the amount is fixed. So out of total 5 lakh, half of the amount is fixed. So it means 2,50,000 is fixed. Plus, the variable portion is expected to increase to 3 times the current level. It means what? Balance 2,50,000 will be 3 times of the current level. It means what? 2,50,000 into 3. So this will be 10 lakh. So computer processing cost will be 10 lakh. When talking about the third cost, that is issuing statement, presently 3 lakh statements are made. Abhi hum log 3 lakh statements issue kar rahe hain. But in the budgeted period, 5 lakh statements are expected. Matlab from 3 lakh to 5 lakh. Further, it is mentioned in the question that for every increase in 1 lakh, the cost is going to increase by 1 lakh. So for every 1 lakh increase, the cost will increase by 1 lakh. So from 3 to 5 lakh, how many extra statements? 2 lakh extra statements. So 2 lakh extra cost will be incurred. So when talking about issuing statements, $18 lakh plus 2 lakh. So this will be 20. When talking about the computer inquiries, it is given clearly in question that they estimated to increase by 80% during the budgeted period. So 2 lakh plus 80%, this will be 3 lakh 60. Now we have got the total amount, we have the driver in units, we can easily calculate the absorption rate. So here in the first case, 8 lakh divided by 2 lakh, this will be 4. This will be 0.5. 20 lakh divided by 5 lakh, this will be 4. And this will be 0.5. So now we are done with the calculation of absorption rate. Now the next part is distribution of overheads. We can easily distribute the overheads among the 3 products. That is, the 3 products are deposit, loan, and credit card. So statement showing distribution of overheads. There are 3 products, that is deposit, loan, and credit card. So deposit, loan, and credit card. So first is ATM service. The cost is rupees 4 per ATM transaction. So this will be 1,50,000 into 4. This will be 6 lakh. And the next will be 50,000 into 4. So this will be 2 lakh. The next is computer processing. The next is computer processing. It depends upon the number of computer processing transaction, that is 15 lakh, 2 lakh and 3 lakh. We have already calculated the rate. So 15 lakh into 0.5, this will be 7,50,000. 2 lakh into 0.5, this will be 1 lakh. And 3 lakh into 0.5, this will be. So this is how this cost of 10 lakh will be distributed among these three products. When talking about the next part, that is issuing statement. Again, the rate is rupees 4 per statement issued. So 350 into 4, that is 14 lakh for deposit, 2 lakh for loans, 4 lakh for credit card. That is 4 into 3,50,000, 4 into 50,000 and 1 lakh into 4. And the next point is computer inquiry. Wherein again the cost is 0.5. So 3,60,000 into 0.5. This will be 1,80,000, 90,000 and 90,000. So we can easily calculate the total cost, that is 29,30,000. $3,90,000. So this is how the cost will be distributed, divided by the number of units that is given in the question. So we can easily calculate the cost per unit. Herein the number of units are given in the question, that is 58,600 for deposits. When talking about loans, it is 1,13,000 for loans and 14,000 for credit card. So cost per unit will be this will be rupees 50. This will be 30. This will be 60. So if you guys have any doubts or queries in this question, you guys can please post your query. I'm done with this question. Very good, everyone. This question is a bit different from the other questions that are given in the study material. Herein the products are relating to banking part. So that is the reason behind I discussed this question. If you guys have any queries, you guys can please post your queries. So let's take a break of 10 minutes and then we'll start with the practical question number 2. In the meanwhile, if you guys have any queries relating to this part, you guys can please post your queries. अशोक सर 10 minutes break डाल देंगे. Welcome back, guys. After the break. Now, before break, we discussed illustration number 4. So if you guys have any queries, you guys can please post your queries. Else, we'll start with the practical question number 2. As one or two students are finding difficulty in practical question number 2. Sir Dhyanesh Ingle, what is cost distortion? That is the difference between the cost as calculated as per ABC and cost as calculated as per traditional approach of costing. So the difference as per the difference in the total cost as per traditional approach and activity-based costing. Kavita Chandak, better take a credit card and use it. You can use it anywhere. Miss Jivita R, sir, what is the meaning of 13 4-weekly period? It is 13 weekly period. Can you please post your repost your query? It's not clear. Very good, Alok. Now, guys, let's start with practical question number 2 of the study material. I request you guys to please open your study material. Welcome back after the break, those who have joined late. I'm discussing practical question number 2 of the study material. Will not be covering this part completely, but yes, I'll be discussing the major point of practical question number 2. So let's start, guys. RST Limited specializes in the distribution of pharmaceutical products, and it buys from the pharmaceutical companies and resell to each of the 3 different markets. There are 3 markets, that is general supermarket chain, drugstore chain, and chemist shop. The following are the data for the month of April, wherein the average revenue per delivery. So the revenue is given per delivery, that is for general supermarket chain, drugstore chain, and chemist shop. Further, the average cost of goods sold per delivery is also given, that is 80 to 500 and so on. And further, the number of deliveries are also given. So no worries. Now, in the past, RST Limited has used gross margin percentage to evaluate the relative profitability of its distribution channel. So to evaluate the profitability, they were using the gross margin approach. The company planned to use activity-based costing for analyzing the profitability of its distribution channel. Okay, so the activities analysis of RST Limited is as under, wherein customer purchase order processing is an activity. The cost driver is also given, line item ordering, stores delivery, cartoon dispatch to stores, self-stocking at the customer store. So these are the activities and the cost driver are given in the question. The April month operating cost, other than cost of goods sold of RST Limited, are 8,27,970. These operating costs are assigned to 5 activities areas. The 5 activities are given. The cost in each area and the quantity of cost allocation basis used in that area for the month of April are as follows. That is, the total cost is given for the activity and the units of cost drivers are also given. Further, how to apportion these costs among these 3 lines, wherein the total number of orders, the description is given, wherein the distribution is given, that how come 5,500 and so on. Now you are required to compute the gross margin percentage for each of its 3 distribution channel and compute RST Limited operating income. So for every 3 division, for every distribution channel, we have to calculate the gross margin. And when talking about gross margin, very simple, the revenue minus cost of goods sold. So guys, the question is easy. Still, I think 1 or 2 students are facing difficulty. So let me discuss this part and plus the cost allocation. Rest all you guys can solve it on your own. So let's start, guys. Yes, Alok, I think even I do think so, but Miss Jivita, you can please repost your query. When talking about 13 4-weekly period, they are talking about no, I don't think so, Alok. I request you, Jivita, sir, in overhead chapter illustration number 7, costs are reported for this company on the basis of 13 4-weekly period. What's the meaning? Let me check. I have to check illustration number 7, Jivita. Let me discuss this part first. So, guys, let's start with the calculation part. I'm discussing practical question number 2. Wherein we have to prepare a statement of operating. We have to prepare a statement showing the gross margin percentage and the calculation of total operating income of RST Limited. So statement showing operating income and gross margin. So there are 3 channels, that is general supermarket chain. So particulars, the first one is general supermarket. The second one is drugstore chain. And the third one is chemist shop. The last is the total. Since we have to calculate the gross overall operating income of the company, so that's why total column. So guys, let's start with the first part, that is revenue. When talking about the revenue part, it is given in the question that, one second, average revenue per delivery is 84,975, and further the number of deliveries are 330. So 84,975 into 330. So this will be 22. So this will be 2 crore 80 lakh 41,750. How come 84,975? $84,975 multiplied by 330. Similarly, for drugstores also, for drugstore chain also, the total revenue is total revenue per delivery is 28,875 into number of deliveries are 825. So this will be 2 crore 38 lakh 21,875. When talking about the chemist shop, it is 5,445 per delivery into 2,750 are the number of delivery. So this will be 1 crore 49 lakh 73,750. 1 crore 49. So this will be 6 crore 68 lakh 37,375. So this will be the total revenue. When talking about the cost, it is average cost of goods sold per delivery is given. So cost of goods sold is also given in the question. That is 82,500 per delivery into 330 delivery. So this will be 2722,500. 2722,500. The next is 27,500 into 825 deliveries. So this will be 2 crore 26. And the next is 2750 into 4950. So the total cost will be the total cost will be 6 crore 35 lakh 25,000. So 6 crore 35 lakh 25,000. So we will get the gross profit. So we will get the gross margin or gross profit. And this will be 668,377. So we have got the gross margin, that is 816,750, 113, 475, 136, 1250 and 3312375. So this is what we have calculated, the gross margin. Now let's calculate the gross margin percentage. Further, we will deduct the total cost also. That is the extra cost apart from cost of goods sold. Let me check if there are any queries. Yeah, both the approaches are correct. So herein, my other cost apart from cost of goods sold is 827,970. So in gross margin, we'll deduct the other operating cost. And that is 827,970. Since no basis of absorption is given under traditional system of costing, so we will calculate it in a total way only, that is 331. So the total profit will be, operating profit will be 248,4405. So this is all what about this calculation. Now we can easily calculate the gross margin for all these three and the operating margin for the company as a whole. When talking about gross margin, it is 816,750 divided by 280. So this will be 2.91%. This divided by this. Second one, 113,4375 divided by 23 lakh, sorry, 2 crore 38 lakh 21,875. So this will be 4.76. And the third one, 13,61,250 divided by so this will be 1 second. This will be 9. This will be 9.09%. And overall, we can calculate 248,4405 divided by 668,378. So this will be average will be 3.71%. This is the gross margin percentage. Operating margin will be how much? So when talking about operating margin, this will be the operating profit, that is 248,4405 divided by 668,37375. So this will be 3.71. So when talking about 3.71, this is calculated on 331,2375 divided by 6 crore 68 lakh 37,375. So this is the way we will calculate. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please tell me. So this is the first part of the question, wherein we discussed that is the calculation of gross margin for all the three parts and plus the operating margin for the company as a whole. Now compute the rate per unit of the allocation base for each of the 5 activities. So here in the next part is the calculation of rate. So calculation of absorption rate. The first column will be the activity. The second column will be the amount. The next will be the cost driver. That is the basis of allocation. Next is units. And next is the rate. Let's start that what all activities are there. Customer purchase order processing. The first activity is customer purchase order processing. Customer purchase order processing. The total amount is 2,20,000. The total amount is 2 lakh. Now, when talking about the cost driver, it is dependent upon the total number of orders. And total number of orders are given, that is 5,500. Now let's check the total other data for the month of April, including total number of orders, that is 385 plus 990 plus 4125, and the total is 5,500. So herein we can easily calculate the absorption rate. Now the next part is line item ordering. The total cost is 1,75,560. It is to be absorbed on the basis of line items. Now guys, when talking about the line items, it is given in the question that every average number of line item per order is given. So when talking about the number of line items, in the question it is given line item per order. So the total number of orders are also given. So the total number of line items will be how much? 14 into 385. 14 into 385. So this will be the total number of line items. That is 5390. In second case, it will be 12 into 990. Double 1,880. And in third case, it is 10 into 4125. So 41,250. So this is all what about calculation of line item. So the total will be 41,250 plus 53. So 58,520, and it is given in the question also 58,520. So once this calculation is done, we can easily calculate the absorption rate and distribute it accordingly. The third point is stores delivery. That is 1,95,250. $1,95,250. It is dependent upon the number of stores delivery. When talking about the number of stores delivery, it is given specifically in the question that 330 in case of general market, 825 in case of drug stores, and 2750 in case of chemist shop. So 3905, this information is clearly given in the question. Now the next point is cartons dispatched to stores. It is 2,09,000 is the cost. Now this is dependent upon the average number of cartons. Sorry, 2,09,000 cartons. Now how come 2,09,000 cartons? See guys, information is given in the question that average number of cartons shipped per store delivery. So this data is given per delivery. So we can calculate the total number of cartons. That is 300 cartons for every delivery. So total 330 deliveries are there. So 330 into 300. So 330 into 300. Since there are total 330 numbers of delivery, so this will be 99,000. Thereafter 80 average number of cartons shipped per store delivery is 80 into 825 deliveries. So 80 into 825. So this will be 80 into 825. This is 66,000. And the next is 16 into 2750 delivery. So this will be 44,000. So the total of all these three will be 2,09,000. The next part is shelf stocking at customer store. That is 28,160. And here information is given in the question that average number of hours or of shelf stocking per store delivery. Again, it is dependent upon the number of deliveries. So when talking about the number of deliveries, it is 330 in case of general supermarket. So 330 into 3. I'm not writing here because of the space constraint. So 330 into 3 plus 825 into 0.6 plus 2750 into 0.1. The total we will get is 1760 hours. So this is how we'll be getting 1760 hours. Now, once the total amount we have, the basis of absorption we have, and the details of every line is given, then we can easily calculate the total cost First of all, what we will do is we'll calculate the rate of absorption and then we'll calculate the total cost. So this is all what about practical question number 2. Mr. Abdul, this is the operating margin. That is the overall margin of the company. When talking about the overall margin, this is 248,4405 divided by 668,37375. This is the operating margin. That is the overall margin after deducting other operating costs. So I hope you guys are thorough with this illustration. If you guys have any doubts in activity-based costing, you guys can please tell me. Waiting for your queries. Those who want to copy this part or presentation can please copy. Giving you 3 more minutes time. The chapter is over. A very easy chapter. But the major point in this chapter is the calculation part. You have to read the question carefully. Half of the work is done if you read the question carefully and then try to solve the question step by step. The first step, if the question is saying that you have to calculate the cost as per traditional approach, then prepare the statement of cost as per traditional approach, and in working note, show the calculation of absorption rate. That is the total overheads divided by the total number of hours, whatever it is given in the question. So once the absorption rate is calculated, that absorption rate is applied to the various product to calculate the total cost. Now the next step, when talking about if the question asks you to calculate the total cost as per activity-based costing, then this table need to be prepared. That is activity, amount, cost driver, units, and the rate. Once we have the rate, we will prepare the statement of total cost and we'll calculate the rate per unit. So this is all what about this chapter. If you guys have any queries, giving you 3 to 4 minutes time, you guys can please post your queries. Yes, when distributing the cost, herein the total items are given, but yes, we have to distribute the cost among these 3 lines. So that's why I have done this calculation for more clarity. So once the absorption rate, after calculating the absorption rate, these absorption rate need to be applied to these points to calculate the total cost in a particular line. So Dhyanesh, Abdul, any doubts? Mr. Smile, hopefully your doubt is resolved. Jivita, I have to check illustration number 7. So right now we are done for today. Jyoti, Kavita, Priyanka, any doubts? Manisha Ben, Jash, Pranav, Mr. Aslam, Nikita, any doubts? Harsh Kumar. Waiting for your queries, guys. It's already 9:35. If you guys have a small query or query relating to concept, I can address it. We are done with the chapter, so we'll be starting with the next chapter in the next session, in a new chapter in the next session. So whatever the queries you guys have, please do post your queries. Okay, fine. So guys, I request you to please try to solve each and every question of study material in writing. No alternate for hard work. So try to solve each and every question in writing. Start from the questions what I have discussed in the class and then proceed for the questions what I have not discussed. So try to solve all the questions. And we'll meet day after tomorrow with altogether a new chapter. Again, a very easy chapter, cost sheet. So till then, please take care of yourself, work hard and practice a lot. Thank you so much, guys. I'm done for the day, sir. Admin, sir.